think we'll dive right in. So hello everyone and welcome to Strike Up Connects, Expanding Horizons webinar. My name is Victoria Pitchler. I'm the Marketing and Communications Lead at Strike Up Canada. And our team is tuning in from our headquarters out in Cobourg, Ontario, where we respectfully acknowledge that we are located in the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa Nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations. We respectfully acknowledge that the Williams Treaties First Nations have been stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters, and that today remain vigilant over the health and integrity of generations to come. Today's event is in part of our Women Entrepreneurship Day celebration and is presented in partnership with Export Development Canada and BDC. Our agenda for today includes an incredible panel discussion with some very special women entrepreneurs who you will meet shortly, followed by a Q&A session. So please feel free to put your questions in the chat as they arise, and one of our team members will gather all of your questions towards the end. After our Q&A, we did carve out time for networking, where you will be broken out into virtual breakout rooms. And lastly, keep in mind this recording will be posted to the Strike Up Connects website with a link provided so you can rewatch it. The networking rooms will not be recorded to protect any information that you may want to share in that discussion. And we also do have French translation services available. So to utilize these services, click the interpretation button below in the navigation panel and select French, and you will hear the main speaker and the French translator. Now, if you have any issues with this feature, please send a direct message to one of our Strike Up members in the chat and we can help assist you. And now I'm very excited. I'm going to pass the mic over to today's moderator of the session, Nkechi Nwafor-Robinson.
Yes, thank you, Victoria. And great day, amazing humans, and thanks for joining today. So first of all, I actually just want to see how amazing you are doing today and how awesome you're doing. So we're going to use the chat. I want to make sure that everyone tries out this chat function since we talked about it in a second. So I want you to blow up the chat. Tell me how awesome you're doing. Just let those comments come in and just empower each other, okay? So my name is Nkechi Nwafor-Robinson, and I join you today as an award-winning technology executive. But that's not all. My name actually means God's gift, and so it's an Igbo Nigerian. So you are in great company today. I'm currently the Vice President of Technology Operations and Services at EDC, or also known as Export Development Canada, entrepreneur, author, professional bodybuilder, podcast host, inspirational speaker, but that's not all. I am also this event's energy goddess, so buckle up because we're about to have some fun. It's my great pleasure to be hosting Expanding Horizons in celebrations of Women's Entrepreneurship Day. Women's Entrepreneurship Day, also, as we like to think about it at EDC, as a month, is an opportunity to celebrate the incredible women entrepreneurs across Canada. And today we'll be able to hear from three amazing humans that I've actually met already. So first, I want to share a little bit about myself. You see, I stumbled onto entrepreneurship totally by accident. It was actually a byproduct of realizing my purpose and what I have to offer to the world. And it was born from my personal mission to help 1 billion people think in ways that are empowering. And from there, everything else took off. I just became this empowered human who really wanted to help change and evolve the world. And so I followed that passion, and before long, it turned into actually a company, which is called Empowered in My Skin. And so my perspective of entrepreneurship is about amazing humans who get to work in their purpose every day. I've simplified that for myself. From an EDC perspective, at EDC, we're Canada's export credit agency, and our mandate to help Canadian companies do business successfully in international markets. And we do this by equipping Canadian companies with tools they need to succeed: the trade knowledge, insurance, financing solutions, and business connections. Exports create jobs, promote innovation, and grow industries. And when exporting is inclusive, it can advance the interests of groups who have faced barriers to trade to help their businesses grow and succeed, positively impacting our economy and our communities. At EDC, we have an inclusive trade team that is accountable for increasing support to Canadian business owned by members of all equity-deserving groups, including businesses owned by women, Indigenous peoples, Black and racialized Canadians, people with disabilities, and members of the 2S LGBTQI+ community. Our national lead for Women in Trade, Catherine Beach, and our national lead for Black and racialized Miriam Francisque are both in the audience today. So remember that chat? I just want you to blow up the chat and give them some love in the chat. These two amazing humans work closely with partners in the ecosystem supporting diverse businesses, including our long-standing partnership with StrikeUp Canada and BDC. And many of our other partners to reach and inspire more entrepreneurs to grow globally. Partnerships are key to our strategy and impact at EDC.
Oh, mon Dieu.
Ooh.
Okay, c'est bon.
There is someone that has to go on mute.
Oui, non, fait que ça prend la journée, ça rentre en bas.
Je peux attendre. And we are so excited to be hosting this fantastic event in collaboration with our sister Crown Corporation, the Business Development Bank of Canada. Here, from BDC to say a few words is the Vice President, Client Diversity at BDC. So please join me in a huge virtual welcome to Fatiha Senhaji. Feel free to show her some love in the chat. Welcome, Fatiha. And you need to unmute.
I said it's a tough act to follow, my friend. Do you hear me? Hello?
Yes. Yep, we hear you.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much, because it was like, oh, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Fatiha Senhaji. I'm the VP Client Diversity at BDC, and really thank you so much for taking the time today of your busy agenda to join us for this Women Entrepreneurship Day webinar in collaboration with our partner EDC that we love and StrikeUp. Really, I couldn't be more excited. It has been 23 years I'm working with the entrepreneurs, and so excited about the topics of growth and expansion today, choosing to highlight and celebrate resilient women, entrepreneurs like you, and diverse women-owned business at all stages of their business, and help them access the advice and the capital needed to grow and succeed. We know your challenges. Running the business isn't an easy task on a good day, let alone with the obstacle that we are facing now and day to day. But the good news is that there is help, support to help you navigate through some of these challenges. Then we are here for you, dear entrepreneurs. And if you are thinking about exporting or exploring or expanding into new international market, then you are in for a treat from today's session. So exporting can open doors to the world of opportunities, but it can also be a lot intimidating prospect for new exporters. Then we know that today content and insight from our guest panelists, I'm looking forward to hear from them. And entrepreneur will allow you to increase your knowledge and your chances of success by taking in some of their best practices. Then and listen, learn, then enjoy. Then I will leave you, it's short and sweet. I will leave you today with my personal advice. Network and connect. This is very important. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Seek advice and support. This is very important. We are here, StrikeUp, EDC, BDC. We are here to help you and listen to you. Tap into a great, free, helpful resources from partner like EDC, BDC. A digital presence, it's very important, and marketing strategy, it's more important than ever to help you grow your business online. Then enjoy today's webinars And remember, we are here to support you and in every step. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Oh man, thank you, Fatiha. I'm pretty sure so many resilient women on this webinar have actually received that message from our heart space. And as Fatiha said, network. Your network is your net worth. So this is the perfect place. You're in the best place for networking today. So on behalf of EDC, Fatiha, we look forward to our continued partnership. Okay, so let's move to another part of the webinar and meet some incredible entrepreneurs. First off, we have the founder and CEO of Chiwis, a nutritionist and a huge fan of snacks. It all started with the kiwi chip. She began making kiwi chips to bring on hikes, camping trips, or to the couch for a good Netflix session. Girl! After years of hearing feedback from friends and family that kiwi chips tasted like healthy Sour Patch Kids and that they would buy kiwi chips if they were available in stores, she started thinking about making a brand out of her favorite snack. Turns out kiwi chips didn't exist on any store shelves. She knew what she needed to do. She launched Chiwis in early 2021 with their 2 kiwi chip varieties, and now they have a lineup of 5 flavors of 100% natural fruit chips with more fun ideas being tested at their snack factory in Squamish, BC. So join me again in a big, massive virtual welcome to Sarah Goodman. Camera, Sarah.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, I have some more people showing up for us. Let's just hold on 1 second. So now, on to our next 2 panelists. Mini TIPI is a Canadian lifestyle brand that operates and manufactures its products locally in Gatineau, Quebec. Co-founded in 2016, one founder is from Nipissing First Nations and the other co-founder is from Quebec City of settler descent. Mini TIPI is shaped by their professional and personal experiences. While the purpose of addressing the lack of authentic Indigenous design textiles, Mini TIPI collaborates with Indigenous artists to create exclusive designs, ensuring proper representation in the industry. While celebrating Indigenous arts and cultures, Mini TIPI offers individuals the opportunity to purchase products while appreciating cultural diversity with confidence. Through their artist royalty program and give back initiatives, Mini TIPI has become leaders in artistic collaborations, community involvement, and local manufacturing. And you know what's next. So join me in another big virtual welcome to Trisha, Pitura, and Melanie Bernard from Mini TIPI. Welcome, all 3 of you. That's so awesome. So I hope the chat is blowing up. Let's just see. Amazing panel. We welcome Mini TIPI founders, Mel and Trish. Yes, blow it up. We love Chiwis products. That's right. I am so excited. I'm so excited. Okay. So excited to jump right in. And you know what? You guys are all sitting down. I'm going to sit down too. Let's just sit down and have a conversation. How do we do that? Okay. So for both companies, how did you start with Chiwis? How did you, Sarah, if you could talk about how you got started as an entrepreneur and what drove you to build Chiwis?
So Chiwis I've always been an entrepreneur. After post-secondary, I studied a bunch of different things, but Chiwis is actually my 4th company, the most successful one for sure. But I quite an independent person. When I went to schooling, did practicums, I just started my own businesses. It's what it felt right to me. And so when the company that I was with before Chiwis was a tech company that I co-founded, and I ran that company for 7 years. And when I was leaving, I wanted to do something else. And like you said in the intro, I made kiwi chips all the time just for fun. And then I've always loved marketing and branding and product. And so I thought, hey, maybe I could make an actual retail ready product out of this idea. And it wasn't just oh yeah, I'm just going to leave and go do this. I spent about 8 months on evenings and weekends researching the food business and how it works and margins and talking to people in all facets of that industry, from food entrepreneurs to distributors to retailers, to really figure it out before diving in. And I think there's been a lot of good luck and timeliness with Chiwis, but it was something that like you said, there was a hole in the market, and I've been able to grow it to now we have 8 products now. We just launched 3 new ones just last month, and continuing to grow, making snacks that are delicious and also nutritious.
Oh, you just got it done. There was you're just I'm going in from Netflix to like store shop. I think that's really awesome. Awesome.
I move fast. In tech, you learn to move fast, and then coming to an industry like food, which is a lot slower, it's been like an adjustment, but it's just the speed I operate.
I love it, and we're very grateful for your bias for action because we benefit.
Yeah.
So how about Mini TIPI? Who wants to? Which of you guys going to partner on this response? How you?
Well, thank you. I just want to welcome. I just want to say hi. We want to say thank you for this opportunity. We're really happy to be joining and speaking our story and hopefully empowering and allowing people to be inspired to continue their path and their journey. But Mel and I are really good at bouncing back between each other because we're basically one brain now that we're like, we can finish each other's sentences. So we're pretty good at that. But Mini TIPI really it wasn't the way it was. And like we've evolved so many times. But what really had happened and how it started was a friendship, really, you know, like we met as friends and it kind of evolved from a hobby to seeing a potential by just creating high quality, unique products. And what had started was just choosing fabrics that were accessible to everyone at different types of fabric stores and suppliers here in Montreal. And we were just creating really unique products, and we were finding that in our lifestyle point of us like raising kids at home at that point, we just really were using unique designs that people were very interested in. So finding that marketplace, but also then realizing that there was a huge lack of authentic Indigenous design. Because when we did start, we were using generic inspired patterns. And then we were always asking ourselves about, where did this come from? What's the story behind this? And that's when we realized that there was a lack of in 2019. And then we decided that why not us? And that's a lot of our story is why not us, right? Mel's like, of course we're going to do that. Of course we're going to do that. Mel's the big dreamer. And so we decided to do that. And that's kind of like the start of Mini TIPI in what it is today. And the story that you hear from us is the evolution, but it really did start as a friendship. And then two driven girls who have a passion, and now we have a purpose. And this is what we do, is having the authentic Indigenous designs from our basements to now our manufacturer. So it's all part of the story that we can get further into after.
I love it. And you know, it's interesting because you kicked off by saying, I hope. And I just think somebody in the chat has to just put in, there's no hope to inspire. You are inspiring. You're doing that thing. You're doing that. So I want to double click a little bit more on your stories, because you guys talked about it as if like, oh, that was so easy. And now we're here for this webinar and everything's really great. But let's just be real. The world of entrepreneur is dynamic. And the key to long-term success often lies in your ability to, we heard it from Fatiha, like be resilient, embrace challenges, learn from experiences, and continuously evolve. And so, you know, maybe talk a little bit about the journey that you've been on and your commitment to like the profession, like your continued professional and personal growth, because I do believe that they're intertwined. You know, navigating uncertainties, the last, you know, few years certainly showed us in this world what's actually possible, and really just adapting to the change that's come from it. So hindsight is insight. So maybe you could talk a little bit about over the last few years, how you've grown. And I'll just continue with Mini TIPI.
Well, as Trish was saying, the last few years for us, it was from the basement and then pure pandemic. Let's start a manufacturer. You know, we don't have a background in this, so we leased a 4,000 square feet place with the two of us and 2 sewing machines. And full fact, I don't know how to sew. So we needed to shift things. So we gathered a group of 10 employees, and it's been 2.5 years that we were here. And I guess we've become like, we were entrepreneurs, but now we learned in 2.5 years to become leaders. So I think it takes more for a business definitely than just entrepreneurs. You know, it takes a leader that's going to take his team or her team or their team to where they want to go, you know. And this is the biggest things I've learned in the 2.5 years that we've been in our manufacturer. Yeah, no, for sure. It's all of those challenges and being resilient And Mel and I are, like I can say, we're very resourceful, and we've learned to problem solve. Like you have, it's the constant uncertainties, the things that are out of your control. And as you're growing a business, it's everyday learning, so it's just more of surrounding yourselves with really strong networks, experts, people who are better than you, but also that continuous learning as a leader of how you want your values to be displayed, how you want other people to come on that journey with you. And as we build our team, that's the message that we keep talking about: our dreams, our purpose, and then having people come with us on that ride, because it is a ride, and we're constantly riding that wave.
Yes,
So,
yes. Then, I love to say, usually every morning, there's a great African proverb. You should check it out. The Lion and the Gazelle. Doesn't matter if you're, the moral of it is, if it doesn't matter if you're a lion or gazelle, when the sun gets up, you best be running, right? Like in entrepreneurship, right? Like sun's up, gotta go. And the key thing I want for everyone that's here on the webinar listening in, I think, as you start to hear some of these nuggets that are being so richly dropped today, I think one of the ones I just picked up on is a critical experience. Is so often, we often overlook the need to have critical experiences. And you talked about problem solving. And I think that was a big one that I kind of heard when you said that, and how important that is, especially with how dynamic this life can be. So, Sarah, you've had a little bit of time more to think of it in hindsight, insight. What's your growth pattern journey look like over the last little while?
I could talk for like an hour right now about this, but I'll try to be succinct. So I think that it's already been mentioned, but being able to surround yourself with people who have been in your shoes and throw things back and forth. So I'm going to give just an example. When I was doing that 8 months of research before diving in, I was told many times, like in food, it could be in manufacturing, in any kind of industry, but if somebody else has the equipment and the staff and for food, like the safety certifications, all these things cost a lot of money, use them, don't reinvent the wheel. But when I started Chiwis, this was like, bang in the beginning of COVID, I was like, no, I'm going to just rent this 100 square feet from a beverage manufacturer in Squamish in their kitchen, and I'm going to make these kiwi chips myself. Because like, why would I give it to someone else? And I was in this little facility with a mandolin, slicing kiwis by hand. I have pictures of like my now husband, like everyone helping me. And Whole Foods was our first ever account, which is like where I think luck comes in as well. Like that usually doesn't happen. But I remember sitting in this facility one morning after I had these commercial dehydrators that I got money from Futurepreneur to like get, and I had to throw out a batch of product. I was like, okay, Whole Foods is our customer. What if all the stores across Canada wanted to order 1,000 cases? I would never be able to do that. This is a stupid business. I've made a stupid decision. What an idiot. And I actually so we launched with our scalable model in February of 2021, but this was like right before. So COVID had just started, and I fully used it to my advantage. I said like, hey, distributor, pandemic, oh my God, like I need to pause for a sec. Whole Foods, everyone's like, yeah, oh my God, pandemic for sure. Like, and so I paused and took 5 months to do research and find co-manufacturing partners all over the world to test people that could make our product, had certifications, and shared our values, using upcycled, the ugly fruits, making a product that didn't have anything added to it, and then launched with a scalable model in February of 2021. And if I hadn't made that choice and really reflected, and I think if COVID didn't happen, I probably would have kept growing that facility and spent a ton of money. And that decision there, and I should have listened originally, but it actually taught me so much about like, I've done everything in the business, but we were able to launch with a scalable model. And that's the reason we've been able to grow as fast as we have and go into Costco. Like, you cannot go into Costco if you're making things in a commercial kitchen. You need to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on certifications and things like that. So, like the ability to say Costco LA, okay, yeah, I can do 20,000 pounds of chips. Like, that would have never been a thing. So like, that was a huge pivot learning. And for us, it's kind of the same. It's, you're always learning and making not rash decisions, but like you have to be you have to be eager and lean and have that ability, because a lot of big brands can't. So when you're up against these other brands, like for us to have just launched 3 new products, that's insane. Like that's just like, that is a that would take millions of dollars for an Oreo or something. But because we're able to kind of make these quick decisions and we have the right partners, we've been able to like grow 400% year over year and grow into the States. And yeah, long-winded answer. I'm sorry.
You don't. Okay, so I'm gonna hand you back that story. Okay.
Yeah.
That was great. That was nuggetful, and I saw a lot of questions coming in. So you are. There's people whose thoughts are percolating out there. So
Good.
a lot of
Okay.
actually great questions coming up in the chat, and I just want everyone to know we will leave time to get there. So I see you in the chat. I see you. So Sarah,
No, sorry, I just wanted to catch up on Sarah, and it's really like we can resonate with that, and what she's saying is like really building strong foundation to set yourself up for growth, you know, like to have making sure that your foundation is strong, that you're, you know, like that whole situation here of just like having a manufacturer, having everything in place so that you can say yes to opportunities, that you can grow your business. So I think that it's a good advice, and it's a good learning, and you know, and that's how some people can succeed also, is like learning from other people who've either made those decisions or made mistakes. You know, you learn from other people.
To add something there too, I think for entrepreneurs, like knowing what your goals are and how you want to grow. Like for me, I've been very transparent, like coming from tech, it's always high growth, raise money, all of that. But like maybe you don't want to grow at breakneck speed, and maybe you want it to be a lifestyle business. And even this year, I said to my team, like, oh my gosh, we have these goals. We're having fun doing it, but maybe we should focus on being profitable. And who cares about like this a huge growth? Like we want to be able to be sustainable and our mental health be great and us all having fun and learning. And I said that to them this summer. I said, you know what, let's just chill for a sec. And the next morning, Costco LA is like, we're in. And I was like, just kidding.
Just kidding.
Remember what I said? Never mind. We're all gonna have the most stressful summer of our lives.
You're like, buckle up. Here we go.
The thought was there, right?
So I'm going to keep us on another. I'm going to take us on another track for a second here. By the way, again, I'm listening in for critical experiences. I think brilliant, Sarah. I think you did something that not a lot of entrepreneurs do, and that's start scalable. And I think that that's what you were picking on there, Trish. And I think that that's, and the other one that you talked about that we often think is really simple, decision making. Right. And so decision making is a real critical experience to gather. So I hope you caught that from Sarah. Maybe drop her a question how she's become a better decision maker, because it is a talent. Right. So Mel and Trish, I'm excited to see who's going to answer this one. Reading this great book called Disruptive Thinking. It's actually a great book for entrepreneurs. And it actually talks about partnerships and the importance of partnerships. And a lot of times, like partnering with some that you wouldn't think to partner with, right? Like, is the greatest way to amass success. So you've established some great partnerships with artists who are making an impact in Indigenous communities. Can you talk a little bit about how you navigated that, like thoughts? How did you choose who you're going to partner with, and what that journey, what does that look like?
Yeah, for sure. And I think I just want to start off before jumping into that about, you know, the whole process behind that. And I feel like it's important to say that when we started Mini TIPI, it was just for a lot of it came from us learning more about the culture. So for me, it was a reconnection to who I was and how and finding out more and being curious. And then we're both on that same journey together, you know. So what's really what's special about that is that we're learning together. We're always really curious, and we're living it, you know. So we're wanting to be part of the culture. I'm wanting to know as much as possible. And then when we are building our network of here in the area, or, you know, back in my community, or all across Turtle Island, we're just really trying to find out as much as possible about the culture, and then surrounding ourselves with a network of you know, our community here. But it's really I guess being interested, and then seeing artists, like, you know, our partnerships and our collaboration with artists is like what they're doing in the community, what they're doing with like the knowledge sharing, the indigenizing, you know, just the representation of art and celebrating art. And then I guess it's just really being curious, and then ensuring that those artists are aligned with our values, because I feel like all of our partnerships that we have, in whether it's artist relations or customer service, or just anybody that want to do partnerships, it's really we don't do transactional partnerships. It's really about building the long-term relationships. And for our artists, we often really have a long-term relationship of getting to know each other. We connect with them, we find a little bit more about what they're doing in the community and what we can do together, and we get inspired by sharing knowledge and sharing that storytelling through textile for our Indigenous and non-Indigenous customers. So I feel like the relationship that we build with our artists is really special. And then the trust that we build and our royalty program that we build with them to ensure that they're properly compensated is really is something that we want to be leaders in, and just sharing the significance behind their design that they've been passed, and the knowledge that we're sharing and that we get to learn, and then everyone gets to learn. So we just really feel that we're always still continuously looking and for new artists and new traditional art forms that we want to share. So it's just this I guess the seeking of knowledge and surrounding ourselves with the culture always.
I'm waiting to see if
Mel wanted to add anything in there.
Well, I want to say, for me as the settler in our business, for me it was really important to really represent the Indigenous culture in an authentic way, and maybe in the end, in the hope of feeling Canadian, like to fully represent Canadian culture and to live it, and that it's like mainstream. My dream would be to see like, oh look, I walk on the streets, some piece of like Indigenous, and there is like a mural there, and just like a mix of culture, and it like authentically. And for us too, the royalty program was something that was just a given in our mind, and we were mind blown when we started looking. At first we started looking, we're like, what? Like, no, does that? Like, this is just mind blowing. So for us, the goal is really to make things the right way. Like we're not just in business to have a business. It's just we're here to change the narrative. So so we do it like in a special partnership ourselves, so that you don't really see that often. So so
I like that, especially that focus on impact. So a little bit of what you're touching on is probably going to take me into our next question, and I'm going to open this up to both of you because different businesses will employ different tactics and whatnot, but let's see if there's some similarities. So when we talk, I want to talk about strategy, right? Because you can't be doing any of what you're doing without strategy, knowing when to pivot, like, the right on time, making those kind of decisions that we talked about. And all of that could be really, really intimidating. Sarah, you touched on knowing to start to be able to scale up, but a lot of that is going to enable you to be doing that. So were there, like, what major factors or decision points can you talk about that you just knew there was, something to double click on to get you to where you're on today? Because the timing sometimes has to be just right. And how do you know this is it?
I think that it depends on what type of decision, really. It could be on hiring, it could be on expanding. For Chiwis, until about a year and a half ago, it was just me doing everything. And when opportunities arise, I said yes. And this past year, now we have two of us full time. Thank God for my number two, Carla. She's amazing. She started as a marketing manager and is now our director of brand and my therapist, basically. But for us, this past year has been so intense. Yeah. Oh, I bet. We've actually, things have been flying at us, and we've said yes, because with what I said about knowing where you want to go in your growth plan, I've been very transparent with my team and my investors and my advisors that I would like to grow this to a certain size and then sell the company and do something else. serial entrepreneur, you know, I've got ideas, but I did like that comes at a certain time. But a lot of the decisions will go towards how do we build a brand that is honest and transparent and attractive to other larger entities. We're a women-owned brand, and a lot of what we do, branding-wise and communication-wise, is based towards a certain customer. But how do we get the products in front of those people? You know, when Costco LA reached out, you know, and they've asked jump, like how friggin' high, you know, we have to do it. And I'm a pretty decisive person. I also have a board of advisors that I have put together over a while, like there are 4 people that are amazing from the industry, and, you know, bouncing things off and not making rash decisions, but like thinking about that end goal. We do have goals for next year. We've sat down and like for a whole day mapped them out on, you know, like not being so quick to make decisions. We have a goal of where we want to go, who we want to be selling to, especially like into the States, into the Western side of the States, and what kind of products we want to launch instead of just like go, because it gets frantic. I think though, you can get pretty lost in the decision making when you're super overthinking things, and when you're by yourself. Like you really do need a support system that have been in your shoes, and not like your partner or friends, because often they won't get it really, but to ask questions and not make like the wrong decision too fast. There's so many different parts of this, like on the packaging sides, on the product sides, that I could go into, but we don't have like 3 hours.
And Melanie and Trish, what would you like to add to that?
Wanna go?
You can go ahead.
I think that you know, it's just like the whole aspect of the growth and the decision making of what we need to do, and making that decision to take control of all aspects of the manufacturing, because we were outsourcing a little bit of like the cut and the sew, and then the quality wasn't there. So it was just making those decisions, those risky decisions, but those like the you know, you jump and you just dive and you're all in, you know, and then you figure it out. That's what I mean. Like you become very resourceful, figuring out. So it was really setting ourselves up for growth was really when we took that decision to become a manufacturer and have that control over it, and then building our team for growth. And then I feel like you know, our business is evolving, and it's always evolving, and our strategy changes. And you know, we set up our production process to optimize everything, and then now we're like leaning into like more the marketing, and then the expansion of like where are we going to go and how we're rebranding, you know, like there's always like a little bit of change always, but you know, like Sarah's saying, there's just so much coming at you all the time. And I really love that, you know, like that's what we want to do too, is like really sit down and make sure we know what our goals are. And I think that's really important to like always remember what your why is, what you're wanting out of the business, and how you're going to get there, or like how you're going to get there and what are those steps now, you know, like almost like working backwards.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think for us, there was also a little bit like what Sarah touched earlier, was a timing. You know, when we decide to start our own manufacturer, it was either it's now or we're not going to wait 10 years to do it. You know, it's like, well, at one point you kind of have to jump, you know, and see what happens. And also, I truly believe in, you know, manifesting your vision. And like Sarah was saying, like, at least say it out loud, like, who your big target is. And for us, it's our big vision. And then you'd be surprised, because it's happening for us. You'd be surprised when you start like saying like what your one of the big end goal is, what starts happening. It actually, things are starting to put kind of in place, and you're like, as if, but it is happening, you know. So yeah, it's not just to say, you know, that like manifest. No, because in a room full of people, you never know who's gonna hear you.
Yeah,
I totally agree
I think
with that. Yeah,
it's also like, to do this, you have to like risk, and you have to be willing to fail hard. And I think a lot of the times when people are like, I talk to younger entrepreneurs, and so when people have a ton of ideas, but it's very scary to get going, it's never not scary, and you never figured it out.
yeah.
Like it's always, the marketing or like manufacturing. Oh my gosh, like this wrench is thrown in, and it's for
And there's
entrepreneurs, I think we almost thrive in chaos.
Yeah.
And I've always thought to myself, like after I was leaving tech, I was like, could I go work for somebody? Like I would always feel like if I was doing one single role, I'd be like ripping someone off because I'm always working constantly. I remember when I was
context switching and all. Yeah.
When I was starting in tech, I had two other co-founders, and my now husband he's in tech, and I was working from home, and I said to him one day, oh my God, I feel so guilty if I'm not working like exactly 9 to 5. And he was like, what are you even talking about? He's like, do you know how many actual hours people work? They're just sitting at their desk. Like, I don't know. We have a different mentality, and it's not for the faint of heart to be doing this kind of thing, but like the wins are huge and the losses are huge too. But when you have a little cushion support group to like fall back on, and just knowing like business isn't life and there's so many other things that make us happy, and to not like, it's really hard, easier said than done, to not make it your everything, especially when you're getting like positive affirmation from other places, people asking you to talk on panels, and like, oh my God, what if I failed? I'm gonna look like a total idiot. But like this, even if Chiwis all failed tomorrow, I would, the experience of growing things, being able to do this kind of stuff. I always say yes to things like this because I know in a few years no one's gonna care what I have to say.
So I want to get us to questions. So I want to actually tap on something quickly. This will be the last question before we go to some amazing questions that are coming in. But Mel, something that you had talked about really that struck me was about the vision, dreaming. Like, and I think all of us have the ability to dream just a little bit bigger. I remember even when I started, my mission was 1 billion people in this world. And there's some people that I remember I used to share it, and it could be like, whatever, 1 billion people. And I didn't actually know what 1 billion people look like. And then I did that. I said there's 1 billion people. And then it was after that I had an inspirational, I'm in the knowledge business, but it was after that I had an inspirational speech that went viral worldwide during the pandemic, right? And so millions and millions of views. And so I say dream big, but it also is also very important for others around you to catch that vision and support you. And so to all of you here, you know, what can you share? Like, are there, Sarah, you touched on your board of advisors. I actually think everyone should have a board of advisors. So I'm not quite sure if this one's specific to your business or your personal life or both. But what are other type of instruments like that or vehicles that you've accessed for that type of support that you can actually share with the audience here today? And so Mini TIPI, I'll start with you. And then Sarah, you can round that up and then we'll go to questions.
We can speak specifically to some resources that we've tapped into, and depending on who's listening, maybe it's for them or for not. We've definitely accessed through BDC. We've accessed some funds for cash flow.
Yeah, because that was our major. At first, that was our major problem, cash flow, because we were constantly sold out. So how do you order more fabric if, you know, a massive amount of kilometers of fabric without the cash flow? So BDC really helped us with that. Yeah.
We've also have resources here in Gatineau at IT Gatineau. They have a program where they've helped us along the way. We've tapped into using Powwow Pitch. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's Powwow Pitch in Ottawa here across all Turtle Island that you can access. Like it's a Powwow Pitch competition, and we've participated in that and have a lot of resources and positive outcome from. And another program, there was an Indigenous Accelerator program called SOAR, and we also were able to access a lot of resources to help grow the growth of our business through a few of those.
How about you, Sarah?
So when I mentioned this before, when I started, I accessed Futurepreneur funding. So if you're under 39, you can submit a business plan, which they have a business plan writer, and access $25,000. I think the first year is interest free. And then you can go on after if you'd like to ask BDC for an extra 60, I believe. I didn't do that then because it was scary to me, but since then we've worked with BDC to get funding for cash flow. When Costco LA came on, that's a huge order. We need to pay for those products before we're going to get paid from them. We've worked with EDC on, it's scary when you're exporting to other countries. And so EDC, we worked with them to do purchase order insurance. So once that truck picks things up, if anything happened, you're insured for that. we've worked with a company called Granted, which is in, I think they might work all over Canada, but they will search constantly for grants, government grants, any kind of grants that you can get. They do take a percentage, but I used to think, oh my God, I'm not giving them a 20%, but you know, we're busy. And if they can access, like we've accessed hiring grants, we just got a grant that we can buy like new laptops or iPads, and that they'll pay back 100% of $5,000. It's called an accessibility grant through the government of Canada. And then Can Export is one we got from the government of Canada. So if you're exporting anything out to it, anywhere that you've sold less than, I think, 100 grand, like in the world, they will pay up to, I think, $100,000 with 50% share cost if you go into trade shows, per diem, hotels, flights, things like that. There's just so much out there. And then, you know, I've also raised money from individuals, and you know, the board of advisors is absolutely amazing. That's not something that happens overnight. You have to woo these people, and they become your team and your friends. And so yeah, lots of good support out there for Canadians, especially women. As we're a certified women-owned company through WeConnect, which is an international certification body. I think it's now they have a 3-year certificate. You just have to own more than 50% of your company. And that's really helped. They introduced us to Kroger and all these huge businesses, and it's a very easy process online.
I like you also like other investments. There's angel networks out there too to also connect with, right? That can really help support. So I'm going to go to some audience questions, and the first one here, Sarah, I believe it's for you. So it says, Sarah, with an exclamation point. The person's excited, right? Would love to know how you found your number 2. I don't know, was your number 2 on this call? I actually wanted to ask you earlier, but
it's funny. I slacked her before this, and I was like, you can join if you want to hear the same things I say every single week to you. She's probably super busy we're going to California tomorrow for a conference, and she's probably busy. She might be on here, maybe, but when we went to the Costco LA launch, we went there and we went to go see a bunch of our manufacturing partners, which I did everything over Zoom. So I'd never even met them face to face. And I remember we were sitting there for 3 hours with them having lunch, and they were like, are you guys sisters? How'd you guys know? How'd you guys meet? Have you already best friends forever? And I was like, she applied on LinkedIn. We had a 10-minute interview, and she's just like amazed me so much. And she has that attitude, like she understands the goals, and she, you know, 2 weeks ago, she was tempering chocolate for these chocolate drizzled orange chips that we launched. Like, I'm like, you're a food scientist now, like all these different things. And she's got that. It's hard to find, you know, I've had to let some people go, and it sucks. But like in this kind of role, you can't just have people on that you like, you know, it's cash flow and everything. So I'm so lucky to have found her. People often ask if we've like been best friends forever. And, you know, even the fact like we're so excited to go together, and having that ability to, you know, just have someone again to like share everything with. And I'm just so lucky that I found her.
Yeah, I love that. And this person who asked that question, they feel like they're drowning. And so I think that hopefully that has helped them. They own a food CPG brand as well. And they said it feels like forever it's been me. So I trust that has inspired and empowered them. So let me see.
I think also the advisors too, like honestly, find people that are in your potential vertical. Like one of my super inspirations are the Smart Suites and Tara. And so I have some people from that team on my advisory board and investment side, like people who just can listen to you. And it is scary. And there's so many things going on all the time. Food's tough. If you want to reach out to me, like please do. One of my goals for next year is to offer consulting to people and help and put some time away for that, to be able to, I got lots of help, and I'm blunt and to the point. I will help you if I can. So please, like, I can put my email in the chat, and yeah, if you need a little sounding board, let me know.
There's a question here, Sarah, just one quick question for you. Oh, I think it's here. Somebody was asking about the grant company.
Granted.
Is Granted. Okay, so granted.ca perhaps?
Maybe there's Granted. There's another one called Pocketed. I think they're both BC based, but Canada wide, very knowledgeable. There's a lot of them, but both Granted and Pocketed are women run.
Okay. Mini TIPI. Now, Trish. Excited. I'm always excited to know you guys are gonna look at each other. So, what's the biggest barrier that you have? I don't know that we actually talked about that yet, but what's the biggest barrier that you found?
That's a great question.
It's not mine.
Biggest barrier. I feel, well, I'll kind of maybe talk a little this. I don't know if it's a barrier, but it's let's reflect for a second here on that. I feel maybe not a barrier, but I guess one is, I guess, the supply chain. I would say supply chain and dealing with our suppliers, and like the communication in that aspect of it. We have switched our supplier. We used to deal overseas, and just pivoting and learning from that, and and then now having our supplier in Italy and all of our fabric. We made that conscious choice because it was part of our values to have recycled fibers in our fabrics, to be more consciously aware of the environment. But it was just finding suppliers that can weave our fabric, and then also barriers of sharing our IP, which is our exclusive designs of our artists, and making sure that we have our IP strategy in place, and that we continuously protect ourselves and our artists. But it's more, I guess, not having a supplier in Canada, so like that's a barrier for us. And maybe why not us? No,
Is that where I start manifesting?
Where we become a textile manufacturer after? But no, it's these types of challenges that we have to kind of consciously be aware of what's around us, and so protecting ourselves, and maybe even expanding our supply chain, just to make sure that we're properly set up so that our barriers don't stop us. So we are ahead of our barriers.
I love it. There's another question. I have a whole bunch. I think I'm trying to remember, but I don't think we've really touched on this one. I think it's an important one for a lot of people. I think about Sarah Blakely. Like, she has $1 billion business, and she started with $5,000 of her own money. So let's talk a little bit about funding, because some people don't start because they feel they don't have funding. And so the question is, did you all have to bootstrap at the beginning, and where do you recommend getting funding from?
I did. I put about $25,000 of my own money, and then I got Futurepreneur funding. And then that was like before I made that pivot. And so I had already had some stores signed on. And then when we were doing that relaunch, well, like our real launch in February of 2021, I had people who knew me from tech, but I'd put stuff on LinkedIn. And so they were like, hey, what are you doing? I want to chat with you. And people who I had pitched, like investors who had pitched for hours for tech, and they were just like, pass. And I decided, okay, well, if I want to scale this quickly, I do want to raise some money. And so I started not pitching and asking people for money, but just seeing what people thought, and people were interested. And when you get a lead, it usually will trickle down. So I raised like a pre-seed round. And then a year later, as we had way more traction and growing, I raised like a seed round. So I've raised just about $1 million for Chiwis. And we also have like BDC funding now and are profitable. So that's good, but we will raise again. It's very much like a sales pitch, and you're selling, they're believing in you and the business. You need to know so many things and be on point, and also make it easy to understand. It's like I could talk for hours about pitching. I've made so many pitch decks, but you mentioned earlier about angel groups. I would not do that. I would find the right people, and not just like throw everything at the wall, that understand, or just like huge cheerleaders in your business. So for us, we've had to fundraise to be able to get where we are. And it's been a much more pleasant experience than funding was in tech, as like a young-ish blonde person. That was awful, but food as a consumable and something that it's easy to understand, it kind of clicked. So funding's been a huge thing for us. Yeah.
Anything
for us, we bootstrapped. from the beginning, and then it was like we make one, we sell it, and then we make two, then we sell it, and then it started really slowly for us, and then that's what we wanted. So we were stay-at-home moms. We were working on our business very part-time, and then when we decided to jump and start our manufacturer, then as I said earlier, we had a cash flow issue because we needed to buy more fabric. So then that's when we turned to BDC, and but no, we like that's what we did also for machines and for implementing different processes here. So because after a year in our manufacturer, we also leased the other room right next to us, so like we are now we have a 7,000 square feet,
expanded quickly.
yeah. So
I just want to touch point though of like, if you're thinking about either raising capital or taking on partnerships, we were approached by a capital investor, and it was a decision that you have to, you like we're two, but sometimes people are one, and it just depends on what you want for the business. But it was something that we took into consideration, but we decided not to go ahead and do that, where we would just stay full shareholders. And so it depends on your preference, where you are at in your business, how that money could benefit you, and to know, I feel like it's like you need to know what you want to do with the money. Like when you have the money, what are you going to do with it? What's the plan for it? And then for us, it was just more knowing what that was and when we were ready for it. And I think that that's what ended up happening is that we weren't ready, and then we made the decisions at the right time. And that's I wanted to make a point about the money and what to do with it, but I lost it.
It's okay. We might have some time for you to share it in the networking, because guess what I have to end to go to? Sarah, you said it so often, we could talk forever. Strike Up. This is like a podcast episode. I hope you all know that. I think you just need to like put this down, put it on a podcast, slap it out there, and let it go viral. This is an amazing conversation. And so I just want to thank you, Sarah, and Trish and Melanie. You guys shared nuggets, like a lot of mic drops. And so thank you very much for your time and effort today. And for everyone that's listening, I'm pretty sure that you were taking mad notes and paying attention. So I love it.
I also wanted to add that if anybody wants to try Chiwis, I'm going to put a discount code in the chat.
Please.
And we offer free shipping to the States and Canada. And we got these new chocolate drizzled orange chips are like the most amazing thing we've done.
Yeah, talk about it now while we don't have the bag, but yes.
I should have had a bunch of them here, but they don't last in my house.
So thank you very much. Thank you
to
all our panelists. Yeah, appreciate that. And thank you to all your thank you again. I really, really do appreciate your time and energy. This was really, really great discussion. I truly enjoyed it. So I'm going to move us on to our next segment. The good news is we actually can continue the conversation during the interactive networking sessions. And so let me talk a little bit about how this is going to work. So I got some housekeeping here to go through. So all participants, you're going to randomly be assigned to breakout networking rooms. And when you're there, you'll be able to engage with others across the country. You'll introduce yourself and your business and see if there's opportunities with your groups to support one another. And so if you remember something that Fatiha said at the beginning, network. Your network is your net worth, okay? So use this time really well. We're gonna meet back here at 2:20, and myself and some other colleagues from EDC and BDC will be participating in the rooms as well. So you might see us come in and drop out, but I do look forward to actually seeing some of these dialogues come to life. So let the magic begin. I know there's somebody that's going to be doing something to make y'all disappear and get into rooms and reappear in your designated spaces. So have fun. Yes, awesome. I love it. So welcome back, everybody. That was pretty awesome. I think I got to like 3. I was in room 5. I was in room 2, and then I can't remember what the third room I was in, but I was with Mini TIPI. Yeah, Mini TIPI and Kim, and I think Mel. I think you guys got cut off at the end there, so y'all didn't get to finish that. But I think the biggest thing that I heard, and Braves to, I think it was Melissa, was taking full advantage of networking. She's like, yeah, we all need to get together. And I know proximity. They were trying to understand where they were close to each other. But I think some of my big takeaways is, there's so many ideas, like as everyone was kind of sharing what their businesses are, like that's what I always tell everybody, like there's room for everybody. And even in a lot of these discussions, there wasn't really a lot of overlap, but I think that there was still, like, we are here in community and common unity. I think there was still a lot of similarities that people were able to lock into. As with everything, I always say there's that initial shyness. And so I always say to everybody, you know, when it comes to networking, and thank you, Strike Up, for sharing some actually questions to engage the conversations. I know some people start to dig into those questions and said, let's actually use the homework that's actually put up on the screen. But I think it was really awesome. And I think the biggest takeaway is the importance of networking. A lot of times you don't have to struggle on your own. Somebody somewhere out there has done it. So, you know, if it's not about Googling, if it's not about ChatGPT, if it's, you know, it's about, you know, being in these type of experiences and saying, hey, do you mind if we stay connected somehow? And I always say a lot of times it's never the person that you meet with, it's someone that they know that knows someone that's going to connect with you to help you get through what you want to do. So networking is really great. Use this opportunity, reach out to the person that you connected with in your groups, and promise you, we look forward to hearing your testimony at the next Strike Up event. So I want to thank Strike Up for organizing this event. I have a couple of commentary that I'm going to, you know, wrap up. I can't even believe I'm wrapping up. I started off, I told them I had butterflies, and now I have so much excitement. I can go on forever. But, you know, Strike Up, thank you so much for organizing this event. And thank you, everybody, for attending and participating, because the one thing I always say we can't give you back is time. So use this time wisely. There's a reason why we're all here connected. I think at one time I thought that we were up to about 95 people. That's a lot of humans, right? So there's a reason why we're all here today. So don't waste it. Strike Up is returning February 29, 2024. And registration for this digital all-day event opens this Friday, December 1st. It's free to register, which will give you access to on-demand content available post-event for all of 2024. That's a gift, y'all. It'll be another fantastic event with keynote speakers, 7 workshops, 1 main stage panel, networking breaks, virtual event with live viewing parties across the country, and perhaps another energy goddess host, who knows? So remember to sign up. And thank you again, everyone. Happy Women Entrepreneurship Month. We're not talking about a day, we're talking about a month, maybe a year. And have a wonderful rest of your day. I trust everybody leaving here is feeling extremely empowered, and it's been a blessing to be your host today. I don't know you all, but I can tell you this: I love all of you unconditionally. Have an amazing day. I'm out.